Bitcoin mining. You've probably been hearing about this everywhere, especially given the barren wasteland that is trying to find any decent AMD GPU for sale, new or even used. I did a quick fun video a few days ago about how I used a mining rig to heat my room, and a few of you were interested in me doing a beginner's guide to get started with mining, so here is said video. I want to stress that this is strictly a beginner/noob guide to mining, and I won't be diving into anything too complex like flashing BIOSes, undervolting, or manipulating your GPU in any way. Let me know though if you're interested in such a video down below in the comments, but for this video, we're going to stick to the basics. Let me give you some background on mining before we jump into the how you do it portion. I'll do my best to keep this brief and simple, but that will mean I'm sacrificing nuance for ease here. The goal isn't to get you to understand how everything works, just a general idea of what you'll be messing with. So while the world is discussing Bitcoin mining, that's actually a bit of a misnomer. Bitcoin has become a catch-all phrase for most types of cryptocurrencies. Kinda how like a hook and loop strap is known as Velcro, or gelatin is known as Jello, or tissues are known as Kleenex. There's various types of cryptocurrencies, even if they get referred to as the generic trademark of Bitcoin. So when you see everyone using their RX 480 or 580s for mining, they're likely not mining Bitcoin exactly, but a Bitcoin alternative known as altcoin. There's a bunch of different types of altcoins such as Litecoin, Dogecoin, Zcash, and the most popular one for mining at this point, Ethereum. Okay, so with that out of the way, here's the super rough, not entirely accurate, broad understanding of how you mine for these currencies. Essentially, you take your computer, flip on a program, and that program uses your computer's horsepower to validate certain metrics within a data set, and then based on how much data you process, you in return get paid for your services. Again, not entirely correct, but a simple picture. The closest thing I could compare it to is like folding at home. You dedicate your hardware to help process information with regards to protein folding with distributed computing, but instead of helping save lives, you make money. Well, you don't exactly make money, you earn the cryptocurrency, be it Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, and because other individuals have determined that those cryptocurrencies can be used to make a transaction, there's monetary value attached to them. Jeez, I've already poorly explained cryptocurrency mining, and now I'm giving you a crippled understanding of fiat currencies. Anyways, summation. You give the cloud your GPU, they give you currency, you sell the currency for cash. Okay, forget me trying to explain things. Now it's time to move on to how to actually do it. There's 1,000 different ways to set up a miner, but I'm going to go over one of the most popular ways and then also show you some of the limitations of it. The incredibly simple way is to download NiceHash Miner from the website in the video description and just run the program. The few things you'll need to get started are your computer, obviously, but then also a Bitcoin address, which is essentially where NiceHash should deposit the currency that you earn. How do you get a Bitcoin address? Well, you need a wallet, which is principally where you're going to store your cryptocurrency. There are 1,000 different wallets you can set up online, but I keep mine with a Bitcoin exchange as that allows me to transfer the cryptocurrency into dollars in my American bank account. Do your own research on where it's best for you to store the currency, whether that be in a dedicated wallet or if you just plan on hoarding your coins or in an exchange because you want to trade it into your local currency. I'll put some links in the video description to help you guys make that decision. Wherever you end up storing your coins, it'll generate the address that you need to put into the NiceHash miner in order to start earning. Once you have that address, here's the super simple part. The miner automatically detects which hardware you have, you click on benchmark, and the program will check your hardware against roughly 10 or so different types of actual cryptocurrency miners to see how well your PC performs. Once the benchmarking is done and you start the actual mining, NiceHash will run the miners for you and also switch to whichever type of currency might be most profitable for your system to be mining at any given time. The NiceHash miner converts whatever currency you're mining directly into Bitcoin and will only deposit Bitcoin to your account. You can set the program up to do a whole host of things like only mine once it reaches a certain profitability level or run when the computer is idle. So it will turn on whenever you've stopped using your PC, which is a nice feature if you're forgetful about turning this kind of stuff on, which I know I am. Super simple, super easy. You click start and you're off to the races earning money using your PC hardware for distributed computing. However, with anything that's simple, there's nuance that's left out that you may or may not want to know. For example, NiceHash only pays out in Bitcoin, which may not be your preferred currency to keep. Also, payout times vary from either every day or once a week, depending on how much Bitcoin you actually mine, which could be too infrequent or too soon, depending on how you want to be paid. However, overall, if you just want to set it and forget it option, NiceHash is a superb program for that. I keep it running on all of the computers in my office, and I'm currently earning in the neighborhood of like $30 to $35 per day, depending on the given exchange rate, which comes out to $1,000 a month at the current exchange rate, which isn't too bad. However, if you don't want the simple way, you can run the individual miners yourself by downloading them and setting them up, albeit in a less user-friendly manner if you want to make sure you're only ever mining one specific altcoin, or you prefer different payment structures, or you just want more control over what each program is doing. But then you also have to get into the idea of mining pools, which I'll include a link in the video description for, but I'm not going to address that here. This all sounds really great, and almost too good to be true. You use your electricity and your PC to generate cash. Where's the catch? Well, it's in several places, so let's spend the time to talk about that. The most obvious is that you have to make sure that the cost you're spending on electricity is less than the value of what you're mining in the currency, otherwise you're upside down and just spending more money on electricity than you're getting back. You can definitely choose to do that if you think that the value of the coins in the future will be worth the cost that you're putting into it right now, but that's a gamble. So I personally only mine if the profit from the currencies exceeds my electricity costs. So with that, let's take a look at the GPUs I currently have on hand. A GTX 1060, GTX 1080 with updated memory, an RX 480, and two RX 580s, one with 4 GB of VRAM and one with 8 GB. Let's take them and throw them at NiceHash's profitability calculator and determine their value. This is just going to be a quick and dirty calculation, not going into nuance, just using the data that NiceHash themselves provide to us. For any of the GPUs that I mentioned, based on the speculated cost and amount of dollars per day you can earn with the cards, the time to pay off each GPU is between 57 days and 91 days, depending on which card you're talking about, or 2 to 3 months. And that's even with taking a normal cost of electricity into consideration. Not too shabby, definitely seems worth it. However, while this is a super helpful chart to determine current profitability of the GPUs, that's basically all it does, and that's a big problem if you're looking to invest into mining right now. What do you mean by big problem, Brett? I'm glad you asked, internet person. There are two major variables that these calculators typically don't take into account because they're super difficult to predict. Those are the future price of the currency and the difficulty increases with mining. The price fluctuation should be an obvious idea to everyone. The market determines the value of the currency, which varies wildly on any given day. Last week, Bitcoin peaked at $3,000 per coin, but then straight up plummeted closer to the $2,000 region shortly after, but is now again in the mid-2000s. That's some straight up scary volatility, if you ask me. A lot of people are agreeing right now that the price of cryptocurrency is basically inflated due to a speculative bubble, which means it could end these prices, high prices, at any moment and bring everyone back to an unprofitable mining status or much less profitable mining status. Although that's again entirely speculation and not a guarantee. The prices are hard to determine. Now, the second factor that I mentioned is the difficulty of the mining itself. As more and more people come in and start doing these distributed computing calculations, the difficulty of the calculations increase and your current hardware isn't able to get as much of the share due to it now being slower in terms of the hash rate. This difficulty change is inevitable and it isn't something that's easy to predict as the scene of mining is changing so rapidly. However, there are some basic calculators that you can use that takes a generic difficulty increase into account and shows you what profits will be going out. The overall profits from each CPU aren't as high as you would expect even 2 years later, and for some, based on the guesswork of the difficulty increase, will actually start to cost you money even less than 1 year out. Obviously, the NiceHash program can get you around this because it switches to mine the most profitable currencies, and you can set it to only mine at a certain profitability level, but it's something you definitely should be keeping in mind. Then there's the other issue that the amount of VRAM on certain GPUs likely won't be enough going forward, especially if you're mining Ethereum. The DAG file, directed acyclic graph, associated with mining Ethereum gets larger all the time. Currently, it's on pace to start affecting 4 GB GPUs in the near future and their ability to mine, which obviously can't be accounted for in current profitability charts, but may make all of those 4 GB AMD GPUs harder to pay off, which doesn't even take into account the chances of Ethereum going proof of stake instead of proof of work, but that's an entirely different conversation altogether. So with difficulty increases and price fluctuations and the fact that 4 GB cards may or may not be enough depending on the currency you're mining, it's actually really tough to predict what the exact time of return on investment will be for your GPU setup. If the bubble bursts and prices crash, the ROI could be measured in months or years rather than days, or it wouldn't be worth it at all because the cost of electricity will outpace the return of value in the currencies. This isn't to say don't mine. Far from it, actually. I just wanted to make this video to equip you with the basic knowledge to get into mining, and then also to keep an eye out for the impending changes that could cost you if you decide to spend a lot of money on a mining rig right now. But on the flip side, the prices can continue to go up, you make a return on the hardware that you bought before it becomes unprofitable, and you win, and all of my negative speculation isn't worth anything. However, my current plan is to just run the hardware that I have on hand until the cost of electricity outpaces the profit that I make. The speculative bubble just seems too risky for my taste, and I'd rather buy up the GPUs that everyone is selling dirt cheap once everything crashes, rather than to try and get in right at this moment. But I'll be including all of the resources that I mentioned in this video, as well as a few others in the video description down below to help you guys out and make these decisions for yourself. There's definitely value in getting into cryptocurrency mining right now for many people. However, it could just as quickly hurt you if you invest expecting to make a quick return and things go south. My aim isn't to tell you what to do, but rather give you information to determine what you want to do. But to save this video from getting too long, I'm going to end it there. I'm keen to hear what you guys have in terms of hardware and whether any of it is profitable for mining altcoins, or if you're planning on getting into the mining game right now and buying the hardware to do so. Tell me all about it in the comments down below. Let's have a conversation down there. Also, be sure to hit the like button if you found this video helpful at all. Subscribe if you're new around here and want to stay up to date on my tech-related content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.